Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 11 of season 2 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where today we're here back ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. Yes, we are now at the halfway stage of season 2 and what an opening 10 races it has been on F1 2020. We've had some ups, we've had some downs. Obviously if you missed out on yesterday's video, make sure you go back and check it out from the French Grand Prix. Obviously if you've missed out any videos you want to catch back up, click the eye at the top right hand side of your screen as well. There'll be a link to the full playlist from this series. There will obviously be spoilers around about now. So, obviously last time out we were able to get our third win of the season, our third win in 4 races. In fact, you can see apart from the Vietnamese Grand Prix and the Dutch Grand Prix, we've been very, very consistent there. Every other race this season we've had a top 5 so far, which I don't think any other drivers can actually claim so far this year. We're 16 points off Valtteri Bottas, but Mercedes have still got the quickest package in Formula 1 at the moment here. But unfortunately, you know, the aim is to win the Constructors' Championship. George isn't helping us out all too much at the moment. Now, a lot of the times he's been unlucky. You look back at the last few races. Monaco, unfortunately, we got into a bit of a scrap that cost him some time. Azerbaijan, Canada and France, he's just made really bad strategy choices. I don't really know why, unfortunately. That just seems to be the way it's going at the moment. So hopefully now, where we've got the second quickest car in Formula 1, and we're very, very close to Mercedes, hopefully Russell, even I should say, can start getting more consistent points. You know, realistically, he should be getting sort of top 6s week in, week out at the moment. Obviously, last time out France was a little bit different. Obviously, we had a bit of a mixed-up end to that race just due to the alternate strategy. But coming into this weekend, though, 865 R&D points. We need to get the streamlined suspension arms upgrade on the car, so we can try and get a few more of these. And then once we've renewed George's contract after this weekend, we need to look at some facility upgrades on the powertrain as well. Let's dive into this. So, free practice done and done with then. You can see near 1,000 R&D points, as always, on the board. Therefore, we should be pretty flexible in the upgrade we can get on the car as well. We're now at Team Acclaim level 16 as well, so we're slowly but surely getting it up towards level 20. I would love to be in the position of being able to hire just about anyone I feel like at some point, but I think we're a little way off that at the moment. Plus, I like George Russell, so I may as well stick with him. Let's try and get an upgrade on the car. Back at the garage then, we should now be able to get the streamlined suspension arms upgrade on the car. 325 R&D points. We could rush it and try and get it before the British Grand Prix. I think that's what we're going to try and do. Obviously, if we can't get it then we just get it for the Hungarian race next time out after that. But a 46% chance of failure. I don't mind those odds. They seem alright at the moment. I wonder... No, we can't quite afford a durability upgrade as well on the car at the moment. So we've got another upgrade then going on. We've only, got about another 8 or 9 more on the entire game before we need to start upgrading our facilities as well here. So we have got to be a little bit careful about that, obviously excluding the durability side of things. But anyway, let's dive in then, ready for qualifying. I'm tempted now. We should be getting through Q1 every week. I think that's fairly easy to sort of understand. So I'm tempted to jump straight into Q2 if Q1 goes by normally. So here we are then, diving right into Q2. Obviously, like I said, Q1 should be pretty textbook every week now in this series that we can get out of that first session. But into Q2, we're going to take a bit of a gamble here and see if we can get close to Q3, maybe on a set of the medium compounded tyres. We are going to have to absolutely nail the lap. We'll need about a mid 103 if we want to have any chance of trying to sneak through into this third session on this set, but obviously a lot of straights around this track might be possible. Coming down into Sector 3 then, obviously last year's qualifying session here was probably one of the best of the entire year. Mixed up conditions in both Q1 and Q2, but pushing to the limits through the final couple of corners now. These tyres just don't quite have the grip I was expecting from them there. A 13.8, though, isn't too far off, actually. It's a shame I made that mistake through the final corner, otherwise we could have been very close to where I wanted to be. Skipping later on, though, into the session, yeah, unfortunately we were already a couple of tenths off with that soft time, up down into the drop zone at the moment, so we just need to try and get one nice and tidy lap hooked up then on the set of the soft compounded tyres. Obviously, where this track is just so short, it really do just fly around here. Oh, God. Exploring the limits through the first corner there. I was quite surprised, actually, how planted it felt over the sausage curb as we head up in through turn 2 and up towards turn 3. Brake just at the 100-metre board. Purple in sector 1. It's been our quickest sector of the weekend. We've really focused on the straight line speed of the car around this circuit. But yeah, we need about half a second if we want to be safely through into Q3. And I think already we've pretty much found that. Let's just try and keep it nice and tidy in through the second half of the lap. Brake just at the 50-metre board there. Luckily, where this track's fairly simple, it is still one that I feel like I can match the AI a lot better at, rather than a couple of places I found recently where the corners just come too quickly for me to be able to think. 2 more corners to go, though. Back down into 6th gear there for a brief moment, get the extra rotation through. Using up all the curbing through the final corner, but it is going to be a 103.0. Only a tenth off Hamilton in the end. We've got a car that can fight on race day, but do we finally have a car that can fight on Saturdays as well? So, understandably then, straight through into Q3 there. And yeah, only a tenth off Hamilton in Q2. George, though, out in the second qualifying session there by just 0.03 of a second. So that has not been the qualifying that our teammate needed there. That is really not good by him. He lost about 2 tenths after Q1, so not too sure what's happened to poor George Russell there. He must have got caught up in some traffic. But yeah, both racing points, both Ferraris, both Mercedes. Bottas, though, on a set of medium compound tyres, so he's trying to throw something different into the mix there. The Alpha Tauri of Pierre Gasly and ourselves into Q3. We will get 2 runs at this week. Let's see if we can try and get a 102 in there. Going out then into Q3. First run then. Let's see if we can try and get at least a good banker in towards the 102s. If we can try and break into the 102s, I'd be rather happy, though. That being said, it's just a case of trying to keep it nice and precise through the first couple of corners, and then full commitment in the second half of the lap. Coming down through Sector 3 then, it's been a pretty tidy run so far, about 2 tenths up on Sergio Perez, who's not far. Oh my god, that's not the line we wanted. That would have thrown away a bit of time through there. Taking way too much grass. Impressed, actually, that it wasn't a lot more dramatic than it ended up being. A 103.2, though. A little bit off our first run in Q2, but we know we made a mistake. There's definitely a 102 in there. Here we go, then. We've only got about 45 seconds left on the clock, ready to try and get our final run in for Q3. We need a 102 if we want to be with the Mercedes and the Ferraris here, so hopefully we can try and get a nice, tidy run in. One more chance to get it nailed around this Austrian Grand Prix circuit. We're going to need full bravery, full commitment, 4th gear through the first corner. Doesn't really find us any time, in all honesty, but we're still pretty much bang on the money as we head at the first couple of corners. Luckily, we didn't make a mistake through there last time round. At the 100 board, making a little bit of time on our previous lap up the top of the hill there. That's exactly what we needed, so we are now up into the green as we head into the second half of the lap. We're going to brake just at the 100 board, down into the next corner there, snagging the brakes ever so slightly as we try to get the power down. A little bit loose through there, has thrown away a bit of time, as now down in towards Sector 3. Open up the corner as much as you dare, take all the curbing on the exit there as you head now down in towards the final couple of corners. Bottas a 102.5, that is incredibly quick from Mercedes. I don't think we're quite going to be able to get to that this weekend as we use all the exit curb through there. Through the final corner we go, activate the DRS. It is going to be a 102, but it's only a 102.8 if I'm not mistaken in the end there, and that's going to be 5th place on the grid here for the Austrian Grand Prix. So at the end of the day then, Bottas takes home yet another pole position there, but both Mercedes down in the 102.5s there. Max Verstappen only 39 thousandths off the pole in P3, with Vettel in 4th, myself in P5, ahead of Charles Leclerc, who's still dragging absolutely everything out of that Alfa Romeo there. 6 tenths quicker than his teammate Nobuharu Matsushita, who I think that might be his very first Q3 appearance there. The racing points, though, Perez and Stroll split them. Gasly rounds out the top 10. Not too many surprises there. I'm intrigued to see what George can do starting from P12. Hopefully he just plays the simpler strategy this weekend. But yeah, let's just try and get our head down, focus on keeping it clean through the first few laps, and see if we can match Ferrari and Mercedes this weekend.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Mr. Monaco, and Leclerc, Perez, Stroll, Matsushita, and Pierre Gasly, Norris, Russell, Esteban Ocon, and Kvyat, Raikkonen, Sainz, Alexander Albon, and Daniel Ricciardo, Magnussen, De Vries, Latifi, and Jordan King. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Every time Jeff says that, I'm really not too sure what he's thinking at this stage of the season. But anyway, we're here then ready for the Austrian Grand Prix, round 11 of the season. And I kind of feel between the end of Season 1 and now, ourselves and Red Bull have sort of just swapped roles in this championship. We are pretty close to Ferrari and Mercedes. We can challenge them on race pace. And Red Bull are battling the Haas and the Williams at this stage of the year. I don't think I've ever seen a downfall so big from a top Formula 1 team on an F1 career mode like this. But in terms, though, of race strategy, we might try and make the softs mediums work here, if possible. We'll wait and see as to what does happen this weekend. Maybe. They're saying it might just be possible. We'll see what the AI do. We don't obviously want to take too many big risks as well. We'll definitely be putting a little bit of spare fuel in the car, obviously, with how many straights there are around this circuit. That is going to be absolutely critical as well there. But once again, another dry weekend here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Hopefully, like I said, we can try and challenge the Ferraris and the Mercedes, but we'll wait and see what they're like over a full stint in the early stages of this Grand Prix. But I think I'm ready then to dive in for the Austrian Grand Prix. We've got George starting a bit further back. Hopefully he can make a one-stop strategy work as well here. But we just need to try and dive right into it here for round 11 of the season from the Austrian Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go there. Hamilton doesn't get away well. Verstappen, an absolute worldly of a start as we head down in towards turn 1. We've got someone on our inside, just trying to keep it nice and clean through the first corner. That is, of course, Charles Leclerc, who's trying to get a good run at us. Look at the straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo. That is one thing they've never lost in this series as we head up in towards turn 3. He's going to have a look up the inside of his old teammate Seb. Can't believe that from Charles Leclerc. They've got yellow flags out. I think it's just Constantina up behind us, as always there. But again, going backwards off the start, yet another Grand Prix here. We're down into P6 of the getaway. But Verstappen has got the jump at the front. Perez is looking to try and make moves on Matsushita as well. Maybe Alfa Romeo can get both cars into some good points this weekend as well. But we've survived the start. Now we need to see if we can get past Leclerc again. So Verstappen is really trying to romp away at the start of this Grand Prix. However, the Mercedes and Ferraris are looking very, very quick. Myself, Charles Leclerc, and maybe just about Sergio Perez behind us are just trying to hang on to the coattails at the moment. Now DRS has been enabled. That might be made a little bit easier as the Mercedes goes side by side up in towards turn 2. Hamilton He needs to try and start outscoring his teammate here if he wants to be in the title fight, because at the moment, he's sat down in 3rd place in the championship behind me, of all people, as well. Really already starting to struggle with front-end scrubbing around this circuit at the moment. The pace is still alright though, we're sort of getting dragged along by the DRS of the cars in front of us. I do want to try and get past Charles Leclerc though, if possible, because although certainly, don't get me wrong, he's matching the pace of the guys in front of him, I feel like he's just giving us a lot of dirty air that we don't really want to try and handle. I'm bailing out of that. That wasn't my intent to go for the move on Charles. That was an absolute send if ever I've seen one, but not one that I was planning on going for. To be honest, I thought he'd turn in on me. All over the back now of Charles Leclerc, who's lost the DRS of the guys in front of him. So we do definitely need to try and get past the Alfa Romeo as quickly as possible here now, because if he's not getting the DRS off the cars in front of him, I feel like they might just start gapping us if we can't get round him. But yeah, Charles though, everyone around us really, really quick in the opening few laps of this race. Oh, I've accidentally clicked the menu button there, that's impressive. I don't think I've done that at any point so far this series. But as always, me and clicking the wrong buttons in the middle of important moments of a race, name a more iconic duo. Through the final couple of corners we go though, just still pushing to the absolute limits of the grip at the moment. Yeah, Charles no longer with the DRS of the guys in front. Hopefully we can try and get round him at the first corner. A little bit loose, but we activate the ERS. We flick it up into rich revs. DRS as well. Should be a fairly textbook move. Charles is going to go defensive on us. He's going to try and go nice and late on the brakes as well. Going to try and switch back underneath though. We should be able to get on the power a lot earlier. Out of turn 2, he gives us a bit of a squeeze there, a tiny bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but that should be nothing to worry about. Down in towards turn 4, hopefully. Yes, we've done it. Up into P5 of the Grand Prix, so we're back to where we started, and it's only taken us a quarter of this race. Seb and Bottas. Obviously, Bottas I forgot on the medium compound, so we have got to be careful of him. Yeah, those guys now just under 2 seconds at the road. Let's see if we can try and get back within a second, and then see if we can fight. I can't believe still, as we reach lap 10 of this Grand Prix, the way Verstappen has been able to gap the rest of the field in the opening few laps here. It has just been insane to see from the Ferrari driver. Obviously, remember, he hasn't won a Grand Prix since 2019. He never won a race in Season 1, as once again the Mercedes now going side by side. Maybe we can try and close up at last as we just run a bit deep into turn 2. We've got the DRS window now over Charles Leclerc and Perez behind us, but I just feel we're a bit too quick for the cars behind, but not quite quick enough to match the cars in front. Maybe Bottas's mediums are starting to come to their own again, as I think he's got round Hamilton. On to lap 12, now at about a third race distance. We are so close to the DRS now on these guys in front. In fact, that should now be it. There we go. We've got DRS now on second, third and fourth. Hopefully we can try and close up as we near the pit stop window though. I'm not really too sure whether we go hards or mediums here. I don't think the mediums worked out too well last season, but obviously we got lucky with the safety car. So maybe we try another set of softs perhaps, and then do mediums to the end, or we just play it simple, go hards like the AI, and see what we can muster up. Verstappen is coming into the pits though, at the end of lap 12. Neither Mercedes is going to dive it in. Obviously Seb, his teammate, isn't going to dive in either here. So Verstappen, the first man into the pits. If he gets stuck in some traffic though, that might really hinder him in this race. But we have once again managed to lose the DRS as soon as we gained it. End of lap 13. Are we going to see either Hamilton or Vettel into the pits, or maybe even the pair of them? When I say that, no, both of them staying out, so we've got to try and stay out another lap in this Grand Prix. It is a track where you can get both an undercut and an overcut, if possible here, but I just feel like at the moment, we're just losing a bit of time as they're dragging each other along with the DRS. We have now got the tyre warning, so irrespective of what they do, we're probably going to have to pit. Oh, yellow flags out, Ricciardo out of the Grand Prix safety car. So that really has changed the shape of this race then. Verstappen has probably lost out a lot through that. But new strats available. what's it going to say? It's recommending a 2-stop still. That's... Oh, yeah, of course, obviously. Pit on the end of the penultimate lap here. So, yeah, we are going to move on to a set of the medium compounded tyres then. Just because we won't have to put as much stress through them at the start of the stint. That has worked out wonderfully for us, though. Imagine if we pitted the end of the last lap, how heartbroken I would have been. But yeah, I wonder if Bottas is going to dive it in. Then it seems like both Mercedes are going to come in as well. So they're going to have to stack up in their pit boxes. We can now afford to be a little bit cheeky as we head down into the pits. I'm sure we're going to see basically everyone into the pits right now. So we have got a bit of a gap to the likes of Charles Leclerc just behind us here. Everyone is coming into the pits there. Bottas just about comes out in front of Charles Leclerc. We might be able to get close to him. In fact, yes, Seb might get screwed by this as well. 2.6, we're on hards. That's alright, everyone else is on hards. And we have jumped Vettel. Verstappen, though, is going to come back out of this in this race. Where's he going to be? He is still going to be in the lead of the race. So he hasn't lost out in the end, but only just. However, his huge race of lead has been completely taken away from him. That hard work at the start, yeah, completely neutralised now. But we've got 3 different cars from 3 different teams inside the top 3, all, at least I hope all, within a shot of race victory. So the safety car then coming in at the end of lap 16. We've got 20 laps to go here from the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, the Red Bull Ring. Can Max Verstappen hold on to the race lead that he spent so much time trying to build up in the opening stint of this race? Or will now the mighty Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, championship leader, capitalise once again? That has not been a good restart for ourselves. We have been completely caught napping at the final corner there. Hopefully we can try and stick close to Verstappen and Bottas and maybe try and get back into the DRS when it does open up. But obviously cold rubber on the restart. We've got to try and get it working once more here as we head up, down, head up, down, head just up in towards turn 2 and turn 3 there. We have kept it clean off the restart though in the end. Not the best initial getaway, but we've held on all alright there. You can see the gap still hovering about 3/4 of a second, so we've got to keep it tidy throughout the second half of this lap. We've got yellow flags out again. Is that the other Red Bull going slowly? It is! It's Alex Albon going slowly off the safety car restart there, so that is heartbreak for Red Bull. Both cars out of their home Grand Prix before even half distance, and their rubbish season gets even worse here. This time around, no safety car. Clearly not a glitch if it was this time, but that's meant that we're now out of the DRS range from Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen here, so we need to push like crazy to try and A, get back in it, and also now defend from the likes of Vettel behind us. On to lap 19, we've now just crossed over the halfway stage of this race and we're not in the DRS of Verstappen and Bottas here, so Vettel just behind us is looking rather feisty, I'll be honest, at the moment. We need to, you know, we're definitely in the title fight this year, but Bottas just every week at the moment seems to be just getting a few points out ahead of me, a few points out ahead of over Hamilton, and that's been his key so far this year. That has meant that he's been able to maintain the title lead for as long as he has. But Vettel now, yeah, looking very, very feisty behind us. I don't think there's going to be much we can do to defend from the Ferrari if he gets a run. And as soon as I say that, up in towards turn 3, just as his teammate Verstappen is losing the race lead. I hadn't even spotted that just in front of us, but we were way too deep into the corner. Seb's going to take that open opportunity and move himself up into the podium places. And yeah, now we've got to probably aim to try and work with the Ferrari man to see if we can close up the gap to Verstappen and Bottas. Having the DRS is absolutely key around here. Seems like Verstappen and Bottas are still just romping away from myself and Sebastian Vettel at the moment. I do not know what those two guys are doing differently that is giving them so much more time around this circuit. But whatever it is, neither myself or Seb can crack it at this stage of the day. We'll give Seb a few more laps to try and get his act together. Otherwise, we might start trying to apply a bit more pressure to the Ferrari again. We've got a lot of quick cars still behind us. Obviously, most notably our championship rival Hamilton. Let's just try and keep our head down and focus. Crossing over to 2/3 distance then of this race. And yeah, the gap to the top 2 is still just opening up lap after lap here. So we're going to have to try and apply some pressure to Sebastian Vettel up towards the top of the hill. Can we try and get the up and under just like we did earlier on in this race? Yes, we can. We're now up into P3 once again in this Grand Prix. Yeah, I just don't think like Seb's got enough pace to challenge the top two, so I don't really see much point in just sitting behind him to the end. Less than 10 laps to go then. The gap to Bottas and Verstappen is still just opening up lap after lap at the moment. I'm intrigued to know if Verstappen has got anything planned in the dying stages of this race, but myself and Seb have almost opened up a DRS window over Charles Leclerc just behind him as well. We might then not feel too worried about trying to defend from Seb lap after lap at the moment, because we are just using so much ERS in a bid to defend from him. But there we go, Seb's made a little bit of a mistake. The gap just opens up over a second before he still has the DRS, rather luckily for the German. But yeah, if we can just try and, maybe if it's just us two, then I won't try and defend so much each and every lap. We might just have a bit more of a battle with him. Because yeah, it just almost feels like NASCAR at the moment. You're just trying to slipstream around each other as much as you can. 29, Seb's getting a little bit closer to us once again as he makes big gains up in towards turn 3. We've run a little bit deep into the corner there, but we're able to get the power down this time round at the very least. We're just trying to defend from him as much as we can. However, he almost gets a run on us. He thinks about having a look just down in towards turn 4, but we live to defend for another lap at the moment. Bottas and Verstappen, the gap now up to near enough 7 seconds up the road. They are just pushing 100% lap after lap at the moment. Would love to think that one of them would crack, but the joys of racing AI, I'm afraid. Lap 32 then, Seb is closing in towards turn 1. He thinks about having a look through the first corner. We are under a lot of pressure at the moment. We're burning through way too much ERS still at this stage of the race. If we use the ERS, we've got enough to defend from him, as you can see, up in towards turn 3. If we don't, then we're under a lot of pressure. We've got so much rich revs though, we may as well leave it in rich to the end of the Grand Prix. Verstappen though has made a move back on Valtteri Bottas as well here, so it's all kicking off towards the front of the field. Verstappen wants his first win in about 2 years in Formula 1 at the moment. In fact, yeah, I think it was the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix was the last time Max Verstappen won a race in Formula 1. No, it was Brazil at the end of the year, wasn't it? I do remember correctly. Now, sometimes, a lot of my stats on F1 are nearly right. It seems to be the case that someone always ends up correcting me down in the comments where I've just forgot one either freak or weird incident in Formula 1 as well. But at the final corner, that's not been a good run with 4 laps to go. Do we have enough to defend from Seb this time round? We're just dabbing the ERS into overtake mode any chance we get. Way too much curb through the first corner, but we keep it hooked up in the end there as we head now up in towards turn 2 and turn 3 once again. We're going to have just about enough to defend this time around. Verstappen though seems to be trying to gap the Mercedes. On to lap 34, Seb now having a look round the outside of us as we head up in towards turn 3. We can't quite make the move, well, we can't quite hold it there. Up the inside into the corner as we get a lot of wheel spin on the exit. Hamilton now has managed to slip his way up into P5 once again in this Grand Prix. So even if we do lose the place to Seb, we certainly need to be trying to finish ahead of Lewis at the moment, but we need to try and stick close to the Ferrari. See if we can get back past him. We're just 2 to go here. Out of the final corner then, Seb new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, down into the 1-minute 4s in race trim. This is just insane how quick these cars are at the moment. We don't get a particularly good run out of the first corner, but we are going to be still making gains up in towards turn 2. We're not close enough this time round to really be able to go for anything as we reach the top of the hill. Can we try and get the power down on the exit? Just avoid the wheel spin this time around. A much cleaner run out of turn 3 there. Are we going to be able to have a look to the outside down the hill? Holy moly, Seb, you can't do that. He just gave us a car's width and then decided he'd slam the door shut right at the very last moment there. Not too happy with Sebastian Vettel with that one. Romain Grosjean, if you want to illegally block me, you need to learn from this man. But in towards the final lap then of this Grand Prix. Yeah, really not happy with Sebastian for that one. If I wasn't going to send it before now, there's a fair chance now there's going to be a dive bomb coming in on this final lap. Name a more iconic duo than the Red Bull Ring and last lap battles here. One more to go here from the Austrian Grand Prix. We've got a little bit of ERS still to spare. We've got plenty of rich revs. Can Hamilton potentially capitalise in this as well here. He's right behind us as we head out of the first couple of corners. Seb, though, a little bit defensive. He gives us a big squeeze as we head up in towards turn 3. We're going to be late on the brakes there. We just about get the room this time around. On the outside, we're going to have to defend with the ERS there. Seb's got the DRS on us, as well as we head now down in towards turn 4. He's going to get the nose back up the inside there. A very late move coming from Sebastian Vettel, as now he's jumped himself back up into P3 of this Grand Prix. He goes defensive down in towards turn 5 here. Hamilton's going to try and have a look up the inside as well. The Mercedes man can't make anything work of it. We've got catastrophic understeer in towards the final few corners here. Hamilton might be able to get a bit of an opportunity. He's going to have a look up the inside in towards the penultimate corner there. We have to give him the room through the final corner. It's going to be side by side with Hamilton. We use all the track limits as much as we dare, and somehow we hold on for P4.
Race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here in Spielberg, and rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
So there we are then, the end of the Austrian Grand Prix, and it's been about 30 races. I think 34, if my maths doesn't fail me there, since Max Verstappen last won a Formula One Grand Prix. I'm sure he's very happy. That's his third win, if I'm not mistaken, here at the Red Bull Ring there. This time round, though, not for Red Bull, so a little bit of a kick for them after one of their worst races in this series so far there. He just edges out Bottas by 0.3 of a second at the line there. A titanic battle between Ferrari and Mercedes, one that we haven't seen all too often this year. And Ferrari's second win makes them just the second team this year to get both cars with a race victory there. Sebastian Vettel in third. He just about finished ahead of ourselves in the end after a brilliant final lap battle with the Ferrari. Not too happy with some of his defending, I'll be honest, but that's hard racing at the end of the day. You know, once we're back at the end of the race, we sort of calm down and we can appreciate that as well. The Hamilton in fifth. I'll be honest, that last lap may be a little bit controversial. My personal feelings was Hamilton didn't have enough of the car alongside. We gave him the room anyway. Obviously ran wide, but he wasn't going to be able to make the move stick nonetheless there. So we're going to take P4 at the end of the day rather happily there. A drag race between him and Sergio Perez for 6th place there, as well as Charles Leclerc in 7th. My teammate George Russell did pick up some good points in 8th there. 4 on the board for him is not too shabby, but still not quite what we should be getting from our teammate. But he only finished 1.1 seconds behind us at the end of the day, and that is probably what we should be looking at the moment there. Ocon in 9th, Danny Kvyat rounding out the top 10 there with Stroll and Matsushita, Gasly and Raikkonen just missing out when all is said and done there. Further down the order though, I don't think there are any other particular surprises at the end of the day. Sainz, Norris, Magnussen, Nick de Vries, Latifi and King rounding out the finishes there, with neither Red Bull getting to the checkered flag. A torrid day out to just continue a torrid season for Red Bull when all is said and done there. Championship-wise, though, we're still in P2 at the moment. We are now 23 back from Valtteri Bottas, but 20 ahead of Lewis Hamilton there, as Max Verstappen's win means he's a lot closer to the Mercedes than I think anyone sort of realised heading into this weekend's Grand Prix. Ocon moves back past his teammate Raikkonen, though, into P9. Our teammate George Russell moves back past both of the McLarens and Daniel Ricciardo there up into P12. Albon down in 16th still, and no other swappers, if I'm not mistaken there. And constructors-wise, Ferrari just opening up the gap to ourselves a little bit more after today's Grand Prix there. The gap now up to 46 points, if I'm not mistaken there. And yeah, Mercedes still way out at the front as well. But yeah, we need to try and get some more consistent results there. But 4th place, we'll quite happily take from today's Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you all so much for watching this video, as well as the continued support on this series. Now, we're trying to keep it daily for as long as I possibly can at the moment there. But yeah, make sure you get yourself subscribed, leave a like as well. It really does help me out, and obviously it only does take a second as well. And yeah, we will hopefully be back tomorrow ready for the British Grand Prix. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips, as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.